Want to learn an easy way to design a layout using Cricut Design Space? Well, today I'm sharing a step-by-step tutorial to show you my process for creating a layout in Design Space, from layout to paper selection to embellishing my page. And you'll get my #1 tip for starting a layout. Welcome to my new subscribers as well as my existing subscribers. Thank you for joining me today. I bet a lot of you out there bought a Cricut machine for the purpose of helping you with your scrapbook projects and you never took it out of the box. Is this you? It's okay, raise your hand, no judgment. Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the layout design process in Cricut Design Space. And you can use this anytime you want to make a layout. The advantages of this approach, well, first you'll see how your layout could look before you start gluing things down, which is always an advantage. 2, you can move your elements around freely before you adhere anything to your page. And 3, you can play around with images to see what works and what doesn't. The biggest positive, Cricut does all the cutting for you. So if you're a lazy scrapbooker like me, that's key. And if you have challenges using a paper trimmer, that whole process of Cricut cutting everything for you makes it worth it. Note, I am using a Cricut Maker for this tutorial, and you could use either Maker or Explore machines. I don't necessarily recommend the Joy because the Joy mats only go up to 4.5 by 12 and can handle so many pieces on a mat. You could try it, but I think it's more efficient to use a larger Cricut machine. Okay, now let's kick it off with my #1 most important tip before you even open up Cricut Design Space. So the easiest way to get your layout going is to use a scrapbook pattern, and not like the one I have. This is a close to my heart pattern, but you could use any scrapbooking sketch pattern that is available to you. Just do a search on Google and you will find a zillion of them. I will leave a link to this pattern in the description below if you want to download it and play with it. But you can also get other patterns from Close My Heart, from like the Make It From Your Heart series. Volume 3 is my favorite one. I'll leave a link to that, how you can get that book, because it has a ton of patterns in there in addition to patterns for pocket scrapbooking pages. So I'll do something with Cricut and Pocket scrapbooking patterns in another video. But for today, I just want to talk about doing a traditional 12 by 12 layout using this sketch pattern. So what you're going to do ultimately is you're going to take this pattern and recreate it in Cricut Design Space. And this is how you would walk through that. So one of the first things you want to do, of course, is you want to study this pattern, and ideally you want to pick a pattern that matches the number of photos that you're going to scrapbook. So now that I've got my photos kind of figured out, I'm going to choose my pattern paper and cardstock. And as you know, I tend to use coordinated pattern paper and cardstock because I don't like to wonder if things match together because I'm lazy. So but if you don't have a coordinated paper packet that you want to use, then there are a couple options available to you. So say you have some scraps laying around and you're trying to figure out what matches with what, then you could grab a color wheel. This is something I've had forever. I use it very often. And what you would do is you would pick your key color here, and these are just shades of basil cardstock papers, but it doesn't matter that it's basil or not. You know, you get the idea. Match the color as closely as possible to what you have. But you would pick your key color, which would be this in this red violet family, and then it tells you what the complementary color is to that, which is some sort of yellow green shade. Or if you wanted to use 3 colors, you could use this red violet with yellow orange and blue green and any shades in between. So this is very handy. I've used it for years and I love it. Another option you could do is Adobe Color. I think it's adobe.com/color, or you could just go to adobe.com and find color. And it's a same thing as a color wheel. You pick your colors and it tells you what matches with those. And then there's always Love of Color, which is a close to my heart book, and it has varying color schemes in here based on their colors. But again, you know, is color, so you would match as closely as possible. So in this example, they've, you know, given you a candy apple, smoothie, New England ivy, and linen. So it's shades of red, a little orange, green, and gray. There are a ton of color combinations in here, and you get to see how they look. This is also a reference that I use quite frequently, especially to kind of get out of my little color matches, because I'm a purple person and I'll use purple till the cows come home. And in order for me to vary my color styles and layouts, I'll do that. So after I've picked my color scheme or my pattern paper, then I want to match that to the different elements on my sketch. And so here it says pattern paper number 1, and I would choose, you know, whatever that is, and then look at where it shows up on the layout. So for example, pattern paper 1 has A and H, and that's this piece here, and this looks like a mat to this journaling block. And then I would just try to figure out like kind of what colors make sense for where I want to go. So for this layout, I'm actually using Backyard Bliss, and I'm going to just pull out the papers. You get papers and stickers in here as well as some other things. So these are the various papers. They're double-sided, which is nice, and I've got a little variety of patterns that are available to me in different colors. So I've got that, and I've got sort of this neutral gray. Now, so I think for my base page, I like this wood grain. And like I said, I'm kind of breaking out of my box because I usually use solid color cardstock as my base, but in this case, I am going to use this as my background base page. And then I'm looking over here, like you know, what do I want my pattern paper number 1 to be? And I've kind of predetermined that I want it to be this green here. And then pattern paper number 2, I'm actually going to use the flip side of the green and make it purple so I can conserve some paper, because I only need like this much of the green, and then wherever pattern paper 2 is on the page, we'll fill up that. So I'll be able to conserve and use one sheet there. And then pattern paper number 3, I'm probably going to want to use this floral piece here so I can get some variety. And then lastly, some cardstock, and it looks like where the cardstock pieces are, I'll probably use a neutral color, like it's called shortbread. It's like a cream color, and it would be this color, so I would be picking up this like really pale color there. So those are going to be the different. I'll just do this so you can kind of, actually let me grab that other piece so you can see I've got a variety of colors, you know, and patterns, so they're not all the same. So I should be able to get some decent variety on my layout. The next thing I want to do is think about my embellishments. So in this case, I've got these wood grain stickers here that are available to me. I've got some Picture My Life cards, and I've got a sticker sheet that match with Backyard Bliss. So I am actually going to use some of these stickers here and these wood grain stickers to create embellishment clusters with some die cuts that I'm going to use in Cricut, and the die cuts are actually digital images that go with Backyard Bliss. So I'll have a little bit of die cuts, a little bit of stickers, and a little bit of wood grain stickers. And as I've said before in previous videos, that when I create embellishment clusters, I want images of different sizes, different colors, and different textures, and I will group them in 3s, 5s, or 7s, those odd numbers, because that's kind of like what your eye likes. And now that I have kind of plotted out what I want to do, I'm going to come over here onto my sheet here, and I'm going to indicate what colors go with what pieces, because as I've stated, when you get into Design Space, you'll need to know what is going where, so that Cricut will cut out the pieces that you want in the way that you want. And then when I get into Design Space, I'm actually going to color code these pieces as I design the layout so that I can also know where everything goes. So let's go ahead and go into Cricut Design Space and do that. All right, so what you want to do now is go into Cricut Design Space and recreate the scrapbook pattern. You do this element by element using the top of the Cricut menu to size your different, in this case, it's all squares and rectangles. So a lot of times I just copied an existing element and just changed the color. Remember, you want to color code the elements according to your paper and cardstock choices so that when Cricut is ready to cut, you know what papers need to go with which cuts. Now I'm ready to add my die cuts. I've already uploaded the Backyard Bliss die cut elements, and I've chosen which ones I've wanted to include on my layout, just using a few because, as I showed earlier, I'm going to be using stickers and other embellishments with this. Now Cricut has given me a lot of different colors, more than I need, more than the amount of paper that I have. So what I'm doing is I'm using the color sync menu to put all of the same colors together and reduce the amount of papers I have to cut. The other thing I need to do is there's little tick marks on the leaves. They're actually cut lines, so I'm changing them to pin lines, and then I am grouping the pin lines and the shapes together and attaching them so that Cricut knows to actually draw on the leaves instead of cutting them. Now I'm just checking my mats and making sure everything is good to go. I do have an issue. I have some this 12-inch high piece, and what I like to do is cheat Cricut on the cutting mat and turn it at an angle so that it will cut on 12 by 12. It's showing 12 by 24, but I'm going to use a 12 by 12 mat to cut. Now I'm using my gel pens. I'm going to use this lemongrass color, and this is what I'm going to use to draw those veins for my leaves. So what I need to do, sorry for the camera work, I'm using one hand. I'm going to put that gel pen in the correct spot on the Cricut machine and let it rip. And this is what it turned out. I think it turned out good. I'm glad I used the green color as opposed to the black. I think it would be too stark. Here are all the elements that Cricut cut out for me. So all I need to do now is use some chalk, and I'm going to just chalk the edges of all of the die cut elements. You don't have to do this. I just like to do it because I think it makes the elements pop a little bit more. And now I'm just putting the other cut pieces on the page per the sketch pattern. I'm using my title block builder, which I will leave a link to that below, to actually create my title for my page. I love using this template. It really helps me as I plan out my titles, and thank you to all the folks who have used it and downloaded it as well. I'm using those wood grain letters, and they're kind of light, so I decided to use a marker to color them in. And now I'm creating my embellishment cluster using one of my favorite techniques of foam tape. And there I'm just adding the rest of the elements together per my title block builder template, and there you have it. That's pretty much it for the title block, and I'm going to add a couple of little embellishment dots. And this is the layout. As you can see, I've changed some things around. I added 4x6 photos instead of those weird 2 3/4 skinny photos. You could do that. That's the best thing about sketches. You can change them to however you like to make it work for your layout. One thing I forgot to mention is that I did not cut out the 12 by 12 bases. I turned those off in Cricut because I'm using 12 by 12 paper as a base, and there really isn't a need for Cricut to cut a 12 by 12 piece. And that's my process for designing a layout in Cricut Design Space. What do you think? Is this something you could try out for yourself? Or are you already doing this? Let me know what your process is. Let me know in the comments. And while you're there in the comment section, feel free to tell me what else you'd like me to cover using Cricut to design your scrapbook projects. Now, the links for all the materials I used are in the description box below, including a link to the pattern that you can download and play around with yourself. Thanks so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so that you don't miss any future clips like this one. Happy scrapping!